Okay, let's do a live-action Spider-Man figure review. I want a real live-action Spider-Man. Oh, I said let's do the real live-action Spider-Man. No, that's not even close. Perfection. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. James Sharmack here. So today I'm looking at two Spider-Man figures adding to the collection. Actually, I've had the Japanese Spider-Man, the Toei from the 70s for a while, but just yesterday I finally got my Spider-Man 77. If you told me a year ago that, this figure would be coming out, I'd say you were crazy. But, I was excited to see it get teased, and then I did pre-order it, and they canceled it, and then last week they put up for sale again, and bought it, got it. Anyways, we're going to these both today, obviously, because they're live-action 1970s and TV shows, and we'll talk about more about that to come. So the Japanese Spider-Man I've had for a little while in the box. I don't know why, I've just been waiting for it to do a video. But anyways, the box of the old no window cardboard one. Nice picture there, artwork there. He's been featured in some of the Spider-Verse comic books, so he's comic canon. And then aside the picture. And the updated box design for Spider-Man 77. The no display, of course. Nice pictures from the old series. Yes, kids, if you don't know, there was a 70s TV series. I used to watch every Thanksgiving, either on TBS or USA. So, really happy to have this figure. So, anyways, we're going to start off with Japanese Spider-Man, and then we're going to do the American version pretty soon. Okay, so we have Spider-Man, as they would call him, out of the package. Looking very cool. Obviously, the design is clearly based on the old Toei series. I do like that the chest, the torso isn't, muscled out, kind of looking like it's, more like a fabric. But that being said, the arms and the legs look like they're already, reused, because they are kind of muscular. They show the muscles. I do wish it was more, in line with the series, and it was more fabric to it. But it is what it is. I mean, by fabric, I mean the muscles aren't showing through. But what are you gonna do, right? Still pretty cool. Design, of course, has the web shooter there, I guess. The eyes, I think, could be a little bit more squintier. Obviously, if you've ever seen the episodes, the spider eyes are a little smaller. But still, who's quibbling, right? It's still the Spider-Man figure from Japan, so I'm happy to have it. Okay, accessory-wise, he has quite a few things. He has the spider web, of course, as well as some spider webbing, pretty cool effects. Doesn't have any flipped hands, because in this series, in the 77 series we're going to talk later on, they didn't do flip. They did something like this, and the web would just come out of the shooter. Fun fact, if you haven't seen this show all together, he gets his powers from an alien from the planet Spider, and he drives a futuristic alien car they call the Marveler, and then he pilots a robot called Leopardon. I'm probably wrong with that, but anyways, he pilots a giant robot like the Power Rangers. Anyways, he doesn't come with the flip hands, like I said, but he comes with these open hands and a pair of fists. So it is what it is, right? So pretty cool. And obviously, if he doesn't have the flip hands, it's more accurate to the series, so that's pretty cool. Okay, let's look at the 77 Spidey, looking pretty much accurate. They're doing the same thing with this, with the torso. It's not, muscular. Muscles aren't showing through. Obviously it looks more like a costume. Legs seem to be more a little restrained. Arms, definition are kind of restrained too, so that's pretty cool. I think it's a little bit better than the Japanese one, with more accurate to it. Chest design, obviously pretty cool. I wouldn't say obvious, because how do you know, right? I've seen the show. Have you? Let me know in the comments below if you're as old as I am. Anyways, nice mask. I do like, this is actually, it's not a repaint, it's actually a sculpted head, so you can have the metal eyes, or the lenses, or whatever you want to call them. They couldn't do actual lenses back in the day because it would come out as transparent. They didn't want to do a fabric mask for the eyes, so they took a couple of pieces of metal, put some bunch of holes in it so I could see through, and there you go. Nice Spidey label on the back. He has that one web shooter, and he has the utility belt, which in one episode where he fights his clone, that's where you can tell the difference, at least for part of it, but still pretty cool. Okay, so Spidey has the same more or less accessories as the Japanese one. Has the pair of hands that aren't the flips, but like I said, do this kind of action where like the webbing just comes out from underneath the hand. The webbing is a little different. It's actually a piece of string, so you could probably like hang it up and put them in a hanging position or whatever, so that's pretty cool. He has the same pieces of webbing. He dropped it, but basically the same piece as the Japanese one. And he has a pair of fists to go along with the open hand, so that's pretty cool. Okay, so the main difference between the two, because I've seen them both, is that the Japanese one, a little bit more flexibility to them, so you can get the smaller poses, where the American one, he does a lot of swinging around, does some awkward wall crawling, and usually when he's walking, for some reason, it's like, think like a spider, and this is kind of the thing he does. So, it is what it is, I guess. But it's 1977, a little bit before Superman, the movie, came out, so, and, Batman was, 10 years or so on the TV, so what can you do, right? You just try to figure out things as you go. So articulation-wise, they more or less have the same level of articulation. The head, I think, moves a little bit differently on the Japanese Spider-Man, I think, but I might be wrong. Actually, I think, no, it's pretty much the same. It's just a little bit harder on Spidey 77. Anyways, your head goes like that. His arm goes up that far, goes all the way around. No butterfly hinge by the looks of it, so that's kind of a drag. You can bend back that far, go forward that far, so I'll spin all the way around. It's got bicep rotation, double joint the elbow, wrist rotation back and forth. Legs can go apart that far, go forward and back that far. Thigh rotation, double joint the knee. No shin articulation, but ankle pivoting and back and forth. So, you're not going to have like a comic Spider-Man articulation, but it is what it is. This basically is more or less the same thing. So I'll try to get this done as fast as I can, just to show. Thigh, double joint the knee, ankle rotation back and forth. So, yeah, pretty much the same level of articulation on both. Not like the super Spidey articulation I'm used to, but it is what it is. Okay, so we have more or less the entire live-action Spider-Man figure collection here. Marvel, you can always do that with electro company Spider-Man, just saying. But, pretty cool. Little bonkers that obviously they went with the 70s figures, but still pretty cool to have them. And here I decided to take a try and see if it, looks kind of cool. Try and do a McFarlane type of thing, and a jumping Spider-Man can't really look bad no matter what uniform, right? So that actually looks halfway decent, but you can't really get them into super McFarlane poses because obviously they don't have that kind of articulation, but still looks cool nonetheless. So 2 or 3 years ago, if you told me I'd have either of these figures, I probably would have called you crazy. Because, why would Marvel put out 2 figures that are more for a niche? I'm glad I might, say like the Japanese Spider-Man I can agree with because he's been in the comics, specifically the Spider-Verse. And, but Spider-Man 77 is more, I would say now is more obscure. My generation knows about him, obviously. I wouldn't say the kids know so much about him. They might, stumble him on YouTube or find a recap channel that is, looking at the old Spider-Man series. But, if you're going to tell me, like, say you're releasing Spider-Man 77 and Marvel Legends, I'm buying the figure. By hell or high water, I'm buying that figure, obviously. Because, nostalgia is a funny thing, am I right? I do, and, I do like the fact that they're not, they didn't go all out. I would say, I think maybe Japanese Spider-Man's a little bit more muscular than he should be. Just, the muscle doesn't really show through the outfit. He is a bit more slender. I think you do a better job on it with the 77 one. So, and of course, I prefer the 77 just because of the nostalgia factor, because every Thanksgiving, like I said, we get to watch at least one of the Spider-Mans, because, it's like ritual, I guess. So, there you go. Should you get these? If you're of my age, and if you have the fond memories, sure. If you're a completionist, you'll probably get them already. You probably do have it already, because this is more like a second re-release. As I stated, I had a lot of trouble with trying to get 77 in the first place. But, I'm happy to have him. Happy he's in the collection. And, he is, he's a lot like, say, the Bagman. He's an obscure figure. But he is a Spider-Man figure, and he's a welcome addition to the collection. Anyways, thank you guys for watching. Hope you did like this video. Did you watch the Spider-Man 77 series when you were little? Or, did you discover it now on YouTube? Let me know in the comments. Have you even heard of it? Let me know that in the comments too. Anyways, more Marvel Legends to come. Probably going to do a bunch of shorts to knock down at least a wave or 2. Thank you guys for watching those. I really appreciate that. But, yeah, this is, these figures were a surprise this year, I guess. Or at least the 77 was a surprise this year. The Toei one, was a surprise when it came out. But, happy to have them. Anyway, this is James Sharmack. This has been a Nerd Over J&J. So keep on collecting. Happy hunting.